Welcome back, friends. Now we're going to talk about the best books that I read in 2023. I much prefer doing this book so I can give some love into the world rather than to put some kind of haterade that I put out when I did my worst books of 2023. So let's just get started with the first book on my list, which is, and I have my list here, Little Eyes by Miss Samantha Shrubland. This is another book that I read for Sarah Without an H's Secret Santa readathon. This is something that I would not have picked up for myself. This book reads like a Black Mirror episode, which is why I think that I ended up liking it. So in this world, we have these, I want to describe them like Furby-like characters where you can buy them off the shelf, bring it into your home, and then someone is operating that Furby-like character. Like, they can't talk to you, the Furby can't do much with their bodies, but you know, as the owner of that Furby, that someone, real person, is controlling that and can see into your home and kind of be this partner for you, or kind of like this pet that you can interact with. Now, where it all goes wrong is that we are following multiple characters all across the world who's been buying up these Furbies to put them in their homes. And where it kind of goes wrong is that you're dealing with the aspect of having someone that you don't know live in your home and become involved in your personal business. For example, we have this one woman who is controlling the Furby that lives in this younger woman's life, is kind of pretending to be kind of this protector. She has to protect this person and kind of protect her from her boyfriend who she thinks is bad. And then we have this guy who's buying up a ton of Furbies to kind of start this selling business where he sells you a Furby of someone who is living in a desired area or whatever. And so it kind of reads like a Black Mirror episode because you're dealing with a new technology and kind of the fallout of that new technology. And I was surprised that I gave this 5 stars. I think it's because of the Black Mirror kind of aspect of it that I ended up giving it 5 stars. The next one is volume 1 of Heartstopper, and I am just like the other girlies. I love this book. It had me smiling, blushing, and kicking my feet. As you might all know at this point, is that this book is following 2 guys. One of them, he's out as gay within his family and within his high school, and then we have the other guy who is still in the closet, but they come together and they make this really, really cute relationship. And the first volume ended on a cliffhanger that had me just so sad that I immediately had to pick up volume 2. Next book is A Curious Beginning by Miss Deanna Rayburn. Once again, I am like the other girlies loving this book because I think that this was written so well. I love Veronica Stoker. I need them to fuck. I need them to kiss on the mouth. This is a murder mystery where someone in Veronica's life and someone within Stoker's life, that one person ends up dying or being murdered, and they kind of figure out why, and it takes them on this kind of a wild journey. And the plot twist in this was just chef's kiss. It was done so well. Miss Deanna Rayburn can write the shit out of Victorian romance. The next book on this list is The Woman in Me by Miss Britney Spears, the memoir. I did listen to it on audio, and I highly recommend that you pick this up and do it as well because Michelle Williams does a great job. I am just shocked by the things that Britney has claimed to have happened in her life by her family and by just the industry itself. At this point, I'm like, Justin Timberlake, who? We don't know that man. Next book is Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Mr. Brandon Sanderson. And this one I preferred over Trust of the Emerald Sea. This book is set in kind of this Asian-inspired world where we have Yumi. She's set in kind of this, you kind of think of it as I don't want to say the past, but there's no electricity. It's, I guess, in the past. And she is this deity within her community where she's able to call upon the spirits, and the spirits do things for you, are able to provide for the people in the land. And then we have Painter, who's living in this more advanced kind of setting where there is electricity, there's TV, there's he is a painter, so basically nightmares exist and they can come into his world. So what he has to do, he has to paint them, and then they kind of go away. What happens is Yumi and Painter's paths cross because they're able for some reason to kind of inhabit each other's bodies. Painter is in charge of Yumi's body, and Yumi is a spectator or a spirit that no one can see. And they're trying to, throughout the book, figure out why they're able to have this connection. What is the purpose of it? Why their paths cross? I will say that plot twist to the end of the book, I was shooketh. And it is a romance, and I think this is Mr. Sanderson's first attempt at writing romance, and I think he did a good job, but I would be excited to see what he writes next in terms of romance. The next book is A Dowry of Blood, and I can't remember, I think it's S.T. Gibson who wrote this. That might be wrong, We are following a Dracula story, and we're following one of Dracula's brides. And it is a polyamorous story where he takes multiple lovers. And we have his wife Costanza, who is writing basically a letter to him explaining why she did the things that she did. This book is quite spicy, and it is so beautifully written that I can't wait to reread this one again. And I think that this is a very popular book at this point, and it was very well done. I love this book. I bought a special edition of this book that I don't have it with me right now, but I highly, highly recommend reading this one. The next book is Nettle and Bone by Miss T. Kingfisher. This book is set in this fantasy type world where we have our main character, Mara. She lives in like one kingdom, and then we have a prince who lives in another kingdom. Mara's parents have sent off two of her older sisters. One of them passed away, and the second one is still married to that prince who is trying to like birth an heir. But Mara's like, my first sister, she passed away under some suspicious circumstances, so I'm just gonna find out what's happening to my second sister. And it is like a traveling found family kind of story that I absolutely love. I think T. Kingfisher does a really, really great job with traveling stories, and she's the only one that does traveling stories, I think, well. There is a really cute animal companion in this one. His name is Bone Dog, and I would die for Bone Dog. This book was so really well done, and I think that T. Kingfisher is an author to watch for me personally because I have ended up loving two of the books that she's written this year. Next book is Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This is a crazy popular book. Don't remember who wrote it though. Is it Taylor Jenkins Reid? I don't know. We are following Evelyn, who's this Hollywood starlet throughout her life of the 7 men that she married and her rise to fame. I think an adaptation or like a mini series is coming out for this book, and I can't wait to watch because this is a pretty well done book, and I absolutely love Ellen. I think that she's a boss bitch. I love that she decided that she was going to put her career over a man. She does have a child in this book, which kind of surprises me, and I could overlook the child aspect of it. But like I said, she's a boss bitch, and she was going to do whatever she had to do to get what she wanted. Next book I read is The Loneliest Girl, and I don't remember the name of the author for this one, but this book is set in the future, and we have our main character who is on the spaceship to go to another planet that will be inhabitable, but then NASA sends a second ship to meet with her to go on that planet too. Kind of like a horror because something happens on our main character's ship, and then the second ship, she starts to get suspicious of like their intentions. But it is a crazy good time. The book reads really fast. I could have read it in one sitting if I wanted to, but like I said, it's a crazy good time. It is YA, so it might not be for everybody, but it is kind of like a space drama horror that I feel like is really well done. And if you're into a quick sci-fi read, I recommend it. The next book I read is Mindfuck by Miss St. Abbey. This book had me gasping. It took me multiple days to finish this book. I wanted to read it in one sitting, but I had a work trip that I had to go on, so I was reading it over like maybe like a week or a week and a half. But once you start reading this book and you get past the second part, I was hooked, I was gripped, I was in it. Is this book well written? No. But is it a crazy good time? Yes. Are there a lot of plot holes and maybe thinking that, would that work in real life? Absolutely. But I was able to overlook it because I thought Lana was such a bad bitch. I also like the romance between her and Logan. I know that's a bit controversial to say because most people are like, you don't need the romance within this book. But I needed it because it is a dark romance. But I needed the romance in there to keep me hooked and keep going. I actually like Logan. Some people would say that Logan is Ken. But to me, I needed him to be in this book, and I love him and Lana together. And the next book is The Patient by Jasper DeWitt. In this book, we're following a guy who is a doctor who ends up working at this mental health institution where there's one patient named Joe who nobody treats. The Joe has been in there since he was a kid, like since he was 6 or something. And our doctor is like, I'm going to treat him. I'm going to fix him. It is a horror novel, and there is a plot twist in this book that I did not see coming, and the end had me gasping. I had so many theories about what the ending meant. I highly recommend this if you are into kind of paranormal horror. I would recommend it. The next book is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. Also one that needs no introduction because I feel like everyone was loving this book last year. We're following Viv, who is an orc, a retired orc that decides to open up a coffee shop. And it is a cute, cozy, fantasy. We have this little mouse type character who makes baked goods, and then we have another character, I think she's like a succubus that Viv ends up in this little romance with, and then we have, it's just a cute story that's filled with a lot of characters that are just cozy and cute, and I highly recommend picking it up. I would listen to it on audio because Travis Baldry actually narrates it, and he does a fantastic job with the narration. Now, the next book is Still Beating by Miss Jennifer Hartman, and I absolutely love this book. It is dark romance, and I have not been loving dark romance this year, but this one I feel like is so well done. The dark stuff happens in the very beginning where we have our male and female character who ends up getting kidnapped by the serial killer known as the Matchmaker, where he forces his kidnapped victims to fall in love and then he kills them. However, our main characters were able to escape, and the rest of the book is them dealing with their like feelings for each other and then dealing with the trauma. They go to therapy, work on themselves before they get together. I thought this is really well done. I loved the romance part of it. I love the spiciness of it. I love that they went to therapy. It was just a really good and well-written book, and I would also recommend this. I have the Mystic Box Special Edition version of this book that I spent far too much money on, but I would spend that money again because I love this book so much. And the last book is In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Miss Ashley Winstead, and this book is following our main character. I think her name is Jessica, and it's done in dual timelines where we're following her in college and the friends that she makes in college, and then we're following her in the future where her and her friends from college go to a reunion. It is kind of a whodunit. Somebody died, and they are out to kind of figure out who is the real killer. I love this book. Every character in the book is pretty much unlikable, but this is the one time where it worked for me. There's a bunch of books this year that I gave 4 stars, but I don't want to get into it because it was just a lot of books that I gave 4 stars. I think the number of books that I gave 5 stars were 14, and I know that was the same number of books that I gave the worst to in my worst books I read in 2023 video. Something about the number 14 man. Anyway, that's it. Any of the books that I listed on this video, I would highly recommend that you guys pick it up, and I can't wait to see what's in store for 2024. Hopefully some good times, a better reading year than I had last year, maybe hopefully some good things coming to me in the future. I'll just keep that positive energy up and hope that good things are coming to me in the future. But that is it. That's all I have for you guys. I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll check you out in another video.